All right, good evening or good morning, depending where you are. This is Nick Atkins, South China Morning Post, SCMP Martial Arts. Post Fight Podcast is back. I've got JHK in the middle there, Tom Tay on the left. We are here to talk all about what happened on Saturday morning in Singapore. One Championship, Prime Video 2, all the fallout. There was a lot of fallout, let me tell you that. And there are plenty of big fights that have been announced already for Prime Video 3 in Kuala Lumpur and Prime Video 4 in Singapore, Prime Video 5 in Manila. Anyway, boys, how's it going, John and Tom? You held down the fort in my absence. Thank you so much for doing that fight, companion. It looked like you had a blast. A few guests dropped by. How was it?
Yeah, it was good, man. We had some people popping in. Drake came and joined us. John brought Chris in. We had Dave Fretz came in for a minute. Whole squad of people coming in and out. It was a good vibe for sure.
Yeah, it looked really fun. Chris Presnell, yeah, he's been following Chinese MMA for a while, so good to get him involved. Anyway, uh, I don't know where to begin, guys. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about first? I think obviously you covered the fights, but straight after those fights, what have we got there, John?
It's good vibes, man.
Oh, good
It
vibes.
says
There
good
we go.
vibes. Good vibes.
Well, it's good vibes. Yeah, it was not good vibes though in that backstage interview room when Xiong Jingnan came in. A whole kerfuffle was caused there. She was very angry. I don't know if you saw these videos that I put out, but she's very upset after
You
Chatri
made her angry. Come on, let's be real.
I didn't make her angry. I didn't ask her. That was from an online scrum, right? They did an online media thing, and she got very angry. And I felt really bad for the translator there because she wasn't meant to translate. She was from Evolve, and there was a translator called Vincent who was meant to be doing it, but his internet cut out. So she's like not. I think she's Singaporean. So she didn't have like 100% grasp of Mandarin, and it was a little bit unfair on her. But yeah, it all blew up. I put it on Twitter, obviously, and it went crazy. And then Zhong gave a very passionate interview. She felt, it seemed like she felt annoyed that Chatri said Angela should have won. I didn't get your verdicts, guys. What did you make of that main event, just quickly? John, who did you think won?
Well, under one championship rules, I think the champ won. She in the first round, she nearly finished. Maybe it should have been a finish in the first round. I don't know, but Angela Lee, she's super tough, and she survived. And then the rest of the fight, I thought like uh Zhang Junnan, she landed the harder strikes. You know what I mean? Angela was going forward and she was being more active, but you know, Zhang, she was just more powerful, with her strikes and stuff like that. I don't know. Angela looked kind of sloppy to me in the fight. I said it during the fight companion. This fight didn't seem like it was a high level fight. It just looked really sloppy and all over the place. And because of that, I think that she won the fight clearly. You know what I mean? Like under the one championship rule set or judging criteria or whatever you want to call it. If it was under like North American or whatever you want, what's that called? The judging, the 10-9 scoring system or whatever
The
by
must
rounds.
system, yeah.
Yeah, must system. You could kind of see it to giving it to Angela of maybe 3 rounds, maybe 3 of the last 4 rounds, but we're not under that rule system in one championship, right? So you can't complain about that.
Yeah, and then the thing after, I'll ask Tom about this, was Angela was advocating now to change the rules because she didn't win.
Only when you lose. Only when you lose. That's
I
when you
love
start wanting
Angela.
changes, right?
I
That's all
love
I'm saying.
Angela, and she's a huge star for One Championship, but it didn't go down well. I think, to say the least, when I put that on Twitter. I put it out there, and a lot of people reacted negatively to it. Tom, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the best look after you lose a decision, but I think she was more calling for clarification. She maybe didn't word it as well as she should have, but I think her main concern was just like not understanding the rules and how things are weighted. Like we know the near finishes are the most valuable thing in one, but Angela had a few of those herself too, right? She had a couple of submissions that were fairly close. Like maybe in her mind, those should have canceled out with the near finish in round one, in which case, she had control on a lot of the latter rounds. I think she was just kind of frustrated. She felt like, the rules are unclear and you kind of understand where she was coming from. But yeah, asking for the rules to be changed after you lose a close decision so that, you would have won is obviously controversial. I get that, but I kind of get where she was coming from. I think she just wanted a little more like we all want a little bit more information about how this works, right? We cover the sport pretty much full time, and some of us, are still having a hard time wrapping our heads around what exactly these judges are watching and stuff. So it's a tricky one, man.
Yeah, it is tricky, but I think, John, do you think it's a little bit rich, perhaps, that she was talking about the global rule set? I know when Christian lost to Oak in the first match, she was talking about global rule set and how it's the better rule set, and then she, like I say, I have all the respect in the world for Angela. Like Tom said, though, I think it was a bad look for her. What did you think of that?
Yeah, humans make mistakes, right? And humans change their mind all the time, and we flip flop. Everybody does it, right? And it's in the moment. It's in the heat of the moment, and I can see why she would write a post like that. And then she probably go back later on and say, maybe I should have worded that better, but it's already out there, right? In MMA, once you put something out there, it's gonna be out there forever, even if you delete it, a la John Jones, right? So, to me, it's like, yes, she does make a good point. Like, we do need some clarification. We do need to see all the judges scorecards. This is the first time we've ever seen a judges scorecard ever, and they're on event 5,000 or something. I don't know, man, but come on. Now I think we should we should be provided the scorecards for every fight, just like the UFC does. The UFC releases the scorecards immediately after the fight's over, right? We should know who the judges are, what their scores are for the fight, so we could criticize the judges individually, right, for not knowing the rule set or the judging criteria, or
in
because
fairness to one, they are now. It looks like they are releasing them all now. I think it was in an email to media who are on their list. They do have them all there. It is available. It seemed like they messed up a little bit. They forgot to put all three of the scorecards. They just sort of put one for each fight, not realizing there are multiple judges. But eventually I got hold of all of them. It seems, John, to be part of a move towards greater transparency. There's a few measures they're taking, and a few staff there, the officials have told me they want to increase transparency. It's all tied into the Amazon Prime move, I think, and the US move. But is that a good thing?
Oh, of course, it's a great move. I mean, we need more transparency. That's what we always ask for, right? From promotions, from promoters, from organizations. We want transparency, and this is a good step in that direction of showing the scorecards, and then maybe one championship could do even one more and have the judges, if after the fights, maybe come up if the media wants to talk to them about their scores, to explain if there's a controversial split decision or something like that, right? I think one championship should do that. They should, change the game in that way, because I know the UFC won't.
Yeah, no promotion's ever done that, but I would love to see that. Just add that layer of accountability for judges and refs, where after every fight, you're on the hook to explain your decision if there's a decision that needs to be explained. Obviously, you wouldn't interview them every time, but if it's dicey, if it's shady, then that'd be awesome. And then judges are going to be thinking about that during the fight, right? If they're scoring a fight in like a weird way, they're thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to explain this afterwards. It adds kind of extra pressure for them to make the right calls.
Well, there's some people in the comments asking for the Muay Thai and kickboxing cards. I do have them here, so I don't know. Maybe I can show it on screen. It is. I'm gonna have to flip it around. It is that way.
Did they put the ones for the Tawanshai fight? Did you get those, or was it just for the Prime Video?
Should have it somewhere. I'm just trying to save it again. What is this, Marat? I got Marat. Which fight does anyone want to watch? Which scorecards?
The Marat one was good. That was a really close one.
All right, let's see. I've saved it, so I'm going to try and bring it in on screen here. So it is. Yeah, this seems to be part of a move to increase transparency. Yeah, that's the word. So StreamYard has changed things slightly around. Slides. Am I sharing a slide? What am I sharing?
I have no idea. Maybe
present video file. I don't know. Present screen. It's all they've got a new layout. I'll get you guys talking about a topic, then I'll try and figure this out. So yeah, on the scorecards, anything else controversial from that show, guys? I think Xiong. I didn't see any of the other decisions really being wrong or anything. I thought Tawanshai beat Pet Morakot. That caused the whole issue. I don't know if you've been following the stuff in Thailand with Pet Yindi. Have you been hearing about that, guys?
No, what happened?
What?
Well, there was a huge storm on the Thursday show because I think Boat wasn't allowed into the show or something like that. And he was already pissed off because he'd been flown in on economy and he thought it was a complete, snub. But one's reasoning was that it was F1 week, and I can attest to that. There's like no hotels available. Flights were 10 times the normal price. Formula One week, it's just like that. But he felt really snubbed, and he disagreed with the decision, and he went on a big Facebook rant after the event, and it looks like Pet Indy fighters will not be in one championship. That's what the consensus is among the Muay Thai crowd in Thailand. At least, anyone know any more? Please fill me in the comments.
What?
But
Dang, that's
yeah.
crazy.
Seems
Dude,
like
one
there's
championship runs pretty much now that they put on shows like every Friday, or they're going to in what stadium is that? Rogers de Mer or whatever. And then
Lumpini, yeah.
Lumpini, and then they have the Super Series, which almost all the biggest names go to the Super Series. If none of the Pet Indy fighters fight on that, like where are they gonna go?
I guess
Yeah,
these other
right.
stadium shows and stuff, but it's just
Yeah,
Did
it's
that maybe that was just like a knee jerk reaction. These things can be
maybe.
smoothed over.
But
I'm
they've
sure.
had some problems in the past, right? Remember, like
Mhm.
even with what was it? Who just lost the title?
With
Pet
Pemoricott?
Moricott, yeah.
Yeah,
in
Pim Moricott, right?
Georgia.
Remember there was some controversy with him in the past, right? With one championship and Boat as well. And their relationship, I don't know, it's not the best. And I guess it hit a tipping point with flying economy, or what is
Yeah.
it? Not economy, but
Yeah.
what is it?
Economy,
Is
yeah.
it's economy? Okay,
Yeah.
I flew economy, you dickheads. No, sorry, no cussing. But like
Yeah,
you,
do what you
I
want.
flew economy. Oh my god, like come on, seriously. It's what is it? A 30-minute plane ride. Like from Thailand to Singapore is a 30-minute plane ride. You can't just sit for 30 minutes.
I need to be first class, man.
Yeah,
All the way.
Is there even first class from Singapore?
That's a good question. Yeah.
What do you want to be with the pilot? Come on,
Yeah,
guys.
that's the only first class seat I think is the pilot's seat on.
Yeah, he's sitting on the lap or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm struggling to figure out how to use this StreamYard thing. So I'll tell you what. Anyone who's watching, go to their socials after this stream, and I'll put out all the rest of the scorecards on there, including the kickboxing ones, and then you can dissect them at your pleasure. But yeah, we're going to talk about all this stuff. That was certainly a big thing coming out of the show. I don't know how it's gonna go. I was getting the lowdown from Kwang. She one of the PRs there. She's telling me about all this drama. She said she had to stay up till 4 a.m. on, the Friday night. So she got about 2 hours sleep probably for Prime Video. Just dealing with all this stuff is crazy. But a lot of drama going on. His Dark Sid, what's up? Saying Pet Indy have their own fights. They do gambling, I think, and that's why they pulled away from Lumpini. Yeah, because apparently Lumpini's, no more gambling. Didn't they all lose? Says Dark Sid, Ritawada, Captain, and now Pet Moricott. Yeah, that was it. That's the theory, the conspiracy theory going around. And Samé had his belt taken away, essentially, didn't he? He was sort of forced to retire, and he's still fighting, still going around. I don't know what's going on. I'm not too clued up on the scene, but I know a little bit more about the MMA scene. And here's Michael Owens. I'm here for breaking news. Well, we don't have any breaking news, Michael.
Michael Owen, you're the
Michael
one who
Owens
should be breaking the news.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Exactly, Michael. Tell us. Give us some news to break.
But this is not good, though. I'm just saying that right now.
Yeah.
This is not a good thing because Thailand is a pretty decent market for one championship, right? Like, if Boat has connections that are stronger than Chatri, we might not see shows in Thailand. I don't know. I don't know what the level of connections, because it's all about connections, right? Within the society.
I'm sure if it becomes a serious problem for either party, they'll work it out. If either party starts really hurting from this, like they've got to sort it out, right? It only makes sense to figure it out.
Well, it sounds like it's been brewing for a long time, and this was
Yeah.
the culmination.
Dang.
So I don't know how it's going to play out, to be honest. Yeah, I
The
really
straw
don't.
that broke the camel's back, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But another new thing to sort of move on topics. But anyone has any comments on that, please do that, and we'll still bring it up. Northern Thai Garden guy saying, I live in Thailand. I've never seen anyone fights live here. Always on YouTube replay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel they're going to get a new broadcast deal for this Lumpini deal that I was told while I was in Singapore.
When I was in Thailand, I was watching all the shows live on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. I think he means they're not on a channel, a broadcast channel. I couldn't find it on TV. It's only delayed.
Yeah, but who watches TV, right? Like,
yeah, no one watches TV. But what I wanted to say was, another thing. Sorry, one have brought in. I don't know if you guys saw. I tweeted it out. They're doing this post-fight weigh-ins now to try and stop fighters gaming the hydration system. I was told by Rick Orty, who has a fancy title. I can't quite remember. Director of something in the competition.
Athletic.
But Rick's a very nice guy. I did the weigh-ins. He's the one who does the weigh-ins and reads out the test results and checks the scale. He's a very nice chap. He helped me a lot. Also, shout out to Luis from One Championship social team. Saved my ass by hooking me up for the weigh-ins with some cables, which I forgot to bring to Singapore.
I thought you were going to say pineapple pizza, but
no,
another conversation right
no
there.
Pineapple pizza, but so this hydration thing. Now they have to weigh in after the fight, and if they are more than 105% of their upper limit of the weight class they fight in, they receive a warning first time, then there's a fine, and then a suspension. This is an attempt to stop them gaming hydration. 3 fighters failed last week. Tawanchai was sort of slightly over, and Marat slightly over, but the big one was Tiffany Teo. She was a long way over, sort of 10 pounds, which is kind of understandable because she's coming out from straw weight. But I don't know, maybe I'll throw to Tom. Do you think that could stop her coming back to atomweight and challenging Angela Lee? She seemed to have thrown her name in the ring for a shot against Angela Lee.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they've added this new layer of, precaution against weight cutting, then it's going to be harder for her to do it. She's going to have to kind of figure out the best way to get her weight down so that she could pass all these tests. To me, Tiffany Teo was one of the big winners of the entire week last week. That was such an impressive performance coming down, making weight, tapping out Ritu. I mean, it was a pretty perfect performance and a pretty perfect way to announce yourself in a new division. But obviously, if she's failing these tests, then, that's not going to work very well for her, particularly in the context of a title fight. I like this new testing measure. I think it's a good idea in theory, but these things seem to just always make things more complicated. So we're going to have to wait and see. This may end up being just a hassle for everybody involved, but I think definitely in theory, it's a good idea to make sure people aren't taking advantage of the system that one's put in place.
Yeah, I think everyone's natural reaction, as always, with One Championship is, oh, well, it's just all obviously, smoke and mirrors and the shady and everything. But John, I'm putting this to you. Do you think these and all the other recent changes they've made are part of a positive move to try, yes, and be open and transparent with all the weight and hydration? I know they were really keen for me to be there to film the weigh-ins and show everyone that it is real. Because normally they just put it out on their own channel. So some people are still questioning it. But from what I saw, it is a genuine system and there are things in place and there are rules. And if you don't pass those rules, you don't get to fight. So a good thing overall?
It is a good thing, but when you put in too many rules, then it just becomes a complete, show. Because there's so many things that could go wrong. Right? Like, I know you're trying to do this weight, I don't even like protocol to prevent, people from weight cutting, but clearly it's not preventing anybody from weight cutting, right? There's people cutting weight. There's people coming in way bigger.
Dramatic weight cuts they want to cut, right?
Yeah.
That's everyone's always going to cut a little bit of weight, but I think it's going to stop people cutting like 10 pounds, 25 pounds in 1 week. Like,
that's the whole point.
UFC.
People always act like one is trying to get rid of weight cutting. Like there's always going to be a few pounds of cutting weight if you're going to try to get down to like a single pound. You know what I mean?
Because the thing is, like, let's just compare it to the UFC, right? The UFC, they weigh the fighters when they get there on fight week. immediately, like on Monday or Tuesday, right? And they
Mhm.
find out like how much you're over. And if you're over too much, I think the UFC will possibly axe the fight because it's just too much weight to cut, right? They don't want somebody to, completely try to kill themselves, to make weight. There's got to be something going on behind doors with that as well, with that promotion. With one championship, I don't really know exactly what's going on. I don't know, like, to me, like, I'm unclear. Like, Nick would know better than me. I think Tom as well would know better than me. That when do they weigh in? Like, when do they like get checked? Like, is it like Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? Can we go through all of that to like get a clear understanding for
Yeah,
even for the
so
people that are watching?
this is something I raised when I spoke to Rick Orty. I said, he just said, "What do you think of the system and how it can be improved?" I think I'm not sure if he would actually listen to me or anyone would, but I just said it's too convoluted. There's too many days. You got sort of 4 different weigh-ins. You got one for each of the 2 events, and then they can all come back again the next day. And he said they're moving towards a system where there's going to just be one fight day and one weigh-in, and if you miss that window, you miss your chance. So I think they are going to improve that in the next few months. Right now, it's so complicated, Tom, isn't it? You know how it is when we have to write these weigh-in articles for SCMP, right? And then we'll be telling each other like, "What the hell? Oh, this is all going to change in 3 hours anyway, right?" Does it even matter if someone fails weight the first time? No, it doesn't, because they can just come back 3 hours later. But I did get to see it up close. We had Jihin there. She missed weight the first day, and she came back the next day, and then she missed another 3 times. She kept trying to do it, couldn't do it. Then they had to ask Stamp if she would let her have an extra hour to do it, so she could, and it also had to be a catch weight. I think they were desperate not to lose that fight because they wanted Stamp on Prime Video, right? They're pushing her as a big star, but Stamp did get 30% off Jihin's purse. But Tom, sorry, I was rambling on there. It is complicated, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely complicated. And like one of my main concerns about this new protocol they have testing people after the fight is just the logistics of doing things after the fight. Like it's amazing how quickly when the fights are over, everyone starts to pack up and leave. People are going home, the arena's cleaned up, the cage is taken down. Like nobody wants to be dealing with more testing, more of this, red tape stuff after the fights are over, right? They just want to go home. They want to celebrate their wins or lick their wounds after their losses, So I think if they can streamline it in such a way that, there's just 1 or 2 tests ahead of the fight and ideally at some point none afterwards, I think that would be the best way. But obviously, there's growing pains with any promotion. They got to figure these things out. And we see it all the time with one, they'll implement some new protocol, for something. And within a month or 2, that's totally changed and they've totally streamlined it. So hopefully this gets better and less complicated, right? I think that's what we're all hoping for.
I hope so, indeed. Well, let us know what you think in the comments of that. Also, remember to like and subscribe as well. All the details are there in the yellow bar. We're very close to that magic number, 30,000. So if you haven't already and you're checking us out for the first time, what are you waiting for? Go on, do it. All right. Another big issue we'll talk about eventually. I think we can't avoid it, guys, right? Is the financials that have come out. So I think it's the elephant in the room. I think it'd be wrong to not talk about it. It is going around. So record losses, it looks like, for one championship, over 100 million. Record revenue, though, I think, as well. Seems like they had an increase in sales of most other things as well, like tickets, merchandise, things like that, TV deals, sponsorship. So some positives, but the overall note is of concern. John, what do you think as someone kind of more on the outside? Tom and I follow one, day in, day out. So we're sort of sometimes maybe blind to the outside opinion of people in MMA. What do you think as a fan looking at it in that respect when you see something like that?
I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't. It's news, right? It's something that people should know, and it's something that should be reported on. And there's going to be an audience for it, but I don't really care as long as the fighters are getting paid. and they get to compete and they get exposure, that's all I care about, to be honest with you. I don't really care about the promoters. I don't. And how come they're not reporting on Bellator's financials? How come they're not reporting on PFL's financials? How come they're not reporting on BKFC's financials? Like, why is one championship the target? I want to know why they're the target. Is it because Chatri says all these wild things, which a promoter should say, right? Half the time the promoters are lying, right? We've watched Dana White lie through his teeth, right? We've watched him lie through his teeth. So what's different from that and what Chatri does? You know, we've seen Chatri do the same. Okay, we've seen Coker probably do the same, right? It's just that's what promoters do. So I don't think it's such a big deal, right? If they were doing like Darkseid was saying, it's like money laundering or something. Yeah, that's something that's major, right? Because that could be the collapse of the promotion or whatever. But I don't know. I'm not really worried about it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, life goes on, and you know, financials are financials. I don't understand them.
I think it always comes out every year because one has to file a yearly financial statement or whatever with I forgot the acronym. It's the Singapore SEC version of the SEC, basically. So obviously there's some people in the media and some people in the MMA space. We all know who they are, who want to kind of bring this up every year and dig into it a bit. And it's fine. It is newsworthy, and it seems to be every year there is a bigger gap growing. So that is of concern. But I feel like sometimes they may leave out some context. I don't know. I'm not an expert in financials, but I think it is of interest because it's like a startup, isn't it? That's what they always say. One Championship is a startup. It seeks investment from venture capitalists, which pour money in. And these kind of companies seem to take investor money and they spend it. And then they have another round of investment and they spend it and they try and build the company to the point that it's profitable. And one has been saying for the last few years, we're going to be profitable, but it hasn't turned profitable. So that's why I see that these people still are intrigued by it. But Tom, do you blame them for not being able to make the company profitable, given that they had this thing, the pandemic, right? Which I think it messed up their big plans to go to the US. It messed up a lot of things for them. Revenue-wise, it did not pan out very well.
Yeah, I mean, like, where do I start with this? I agree with John that this is, I guess, the kind of thing that needs to be reported. There are people that want to know this sort of thing. My big concern as well is also just that the fighters are being taken care of. You know, if suddenly they're in a position where they can't pay fighters, then that's a big problem. But if the fighters are being paid and the employees are being paid, then I sort of just, you know, you don't want to put too much trust in any of these promotions. But I trust that One Championship at least has a plan, right? You know, they're losing money year to year, but they're not just doing it without an objective. You know, they obviously have targets that they're trying to reach and plans in place. The pandemic obviously was a twist that nobody was expecting, and a big financial problem for pretty much every company, right? And one obviously felt that, but presumably they're getting back on track, and back on track in pursuit of their goals. And maybe the financials year to year at this point don't look great, but you gotta think that they will in the future, right? You know, no company wants to just lose money forever, so. These numbers look really scary when they come out every year, and they seem to spell the end of days for one. But I mean, presumably in a year or two, it's going to be better. Like you said, they feel like they're close to profitability, and I got to assume they are, because what's the point if they're not, right? So
I think the good thing, if you're in one looking at it, is that's 2021 as well. 2022, they have actually signed some very good deals. I think you have obviously Amazon Prime deal. They have a deal now with beIN Sports in the Middle East, very lucrative company in prospect, or very lucrative deal, should I say, in prospect. And I've heard, on the grapevine, there's something big in Brazil they're about to sign. So maybe 2022 we'll see a better financial report. But as WMMAC now says, once financials have been the most publicly available until recently, so that's the easiest to report on. I guess that is something there. And also apologies to Dark Side. I've been calling you Dark Sid for a long time. Yeah. John nailed it. Dark Side it is. So yeah,
I'm still calling
it
you
is
Dark Sid.
Yeah, I'm calling you Dark Sid 33.
You're Dark Sid now. Come on, why'd you do that to yourself, Dark Sid?
Well, yeah, a lot of people wonder about the bonuses last week. I mean, I still feel Chatry throws the bonuses around. Like Tom
And
says, the
they
fighters are getting paid. I don't think there's anyone's going hungry on the show. The staff are all getting paid. But
they gave us
it's
3 on the first card, didn't they? And 2 on the second. I feel like that's pretty
yeah,
standard.
and I think Chatry is quite selective with his bonuses. Sometimes he can be. Sometimes he seems to give them out willy nilly, especially to the grapplers. But I think this time maybe a little bit more stringent. But look, it is what it is. We are open to talking about it. I think a lot of people just pile on one when they talk about this, but I know that a lot of people in that company have a long term vision, specifically Chatry, and he could cut back everything. He could scale everything back to save money and make profit, but then the shows would look terrible, the fights would be terrible, the production would be crap. They wouldn't make any fans, I think, because it would all look awful. They wouldn't have deals with Amazon because no one would want to watch this stuff if it was just scaled back product, I think. So if he has a plan to spend money now in the hope of making money later, and he thinks he can pull it off, all power to him. Obviously, I hope they succeed. I love One Championship. A lot of people here watching this love One Championship, so I hope it does happen for them. But yes, we do have to talk about it. It is of concern when you see numbers like that. But anyway, his dark side, not dark Sid. Again, I'm curious about the Qatar partnership. Did Qatar just get jealous of the UAE and wanted to get their own MMA sports in their country? Maybe. Or John, what do you think? Maybe Chatry went to Qatar and said, "Hey, look at the UAE getting in on the UFC here. How about you come and be our partners?" Maybe the conversation went like that.
There's nothing like oil money. That's all I'm gonna
Yeah,
say.
right.
Right? There's nothing like oil money, and it's endless. We seen it on Fight Island. Who do you think funded all of that? Not the UFC, allegedly. Okay, don't quote me on that, but allegedly, there was a country that funded the whole thing to advertise the island. Right? What island was that? Yas Island. Yas Island. No,
Yeah.
Yas Island. Right?
Yas
So they were
Island, yeah.
advertising Yas Island and what is it? Abu Dhabi. And then they were doing it every week, pretty much. With in front of a worldwide audience, right, on Fight Island. And now, since the partnership is basically over, they don't do it anymore, right? And now the UFC is back to putting on shows in what is it, Dubai? Are they doing the next show? Oh no, it's in Abu Dhabi, right? But not, is it on Yas Island? No, it's on the big stadium, right? The Etihad or whatever. Yeah. So they're back to doing that. But anyways, I don't see nothing wrong with that. It's, if there's money out there and you can get that money, go get that money and go do some shows in Qatar. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people flying in to cover the shows. There's gonna be fighters that want to fly in to compete in Qatar. You know what I mean? They've probably never been there. Have you been there? My cousin used to work there, so it's just a desert, right? So it's not much to do. Let's just say that. And put a stadium out there, put a studio out there, fly in fighters from all over the world, and let them compete, right? That's what you want. Get the money, pay the fighters.
Yep, from what I know, that one is also planning to launch a kind of UFC Apex style thing out of Doha. From what I know, next year, I think a scaled back production. I like the idea of this as well, but I think they are going to be putting a foot down in Qatar, and I think it's a great idea, Tom. That like John's saying, there's money to be made out there. Go get it, right? It could help cover these losses they're having, but it's also a sign that they can make it profitable. Chatry has a good knack for going and getting investment. You've got to give him that. He's able to make investors part with their wallets or whatever the phrase is, isn't he?
Yeah,
open their wallets, part their cash.
Get the passcode.
To the
yeah, no doubt he is. I think this Qatar stuff is going to be practical for a couple of reasons. Obviously, a big one is just Singapore is a long way away for a lot of people, and you look at the one roster now. So many of these people are from the Netherlands and the UK and Russia, and depending where in Russia they're from, Qatar could be a lot closer than Singapore, right? So, just practically, I think it's going to be easier for a lot of these fighters to get there. And, also presuming the pandemic is, kind of still sticking around for a little while, there may be, other travel restrictions here and there. It's just nice to have two places where you can easily promote fights, right? Because if things tighten up again in Singapore, God forbid, then you have another country that you could conceivably fly people to do shows in. And obviously, the money is a big part of it. Like John said, there's a lot of money in that part of the world. And I think, when we're talking about huge sums of money in the sports and entertainment industry, a lot of it is going to have kind of like dirty origins. If you follow the money far enough back, it's always going to be a little bit icky. But I think, this is a good move for one. It's a smart move for one from a business standpoint. And I think, a big step towards the global expansion they've been promising all along.
Yeah. And one thing I'll bring up as well, that I heard while I was out there. I won't, because I know that they also wanted to keep this quiet, but Chatri let it slip on an online scrum, and it was then edited out of the scrum, so I won't spoil it. But there is a date locked in, guys, for a US show. I won't say the date, but it is gonna happen. It is
This year?
Next year.
Oh, next
So
year.
yeah, there is a firm date. We're locked in. Anyway, a good question here. I think something about Gordon Ryan. Who was asking about Gordon Ryan? He's now gone from one, isn't he, guys? So
is that official? I missed that.
Yeah, Gordon Ryan's parted ways with one, and a lot of people are tying it into the fact one has a new anti-doping partner, and they just popped their first guy, Martin Bator, who beat the King of the North, Paul Elliott, last month at heavyweight MMA, and got a bonus for it as well. I don't know if they took the bonus back, but John, do you tie those two things together, or you think it's just circumstance?
Gordon Ryan
Yeah.
and anti-doping? Come on.
Well, a lot of people
Have you seen Gordon Ryan? He looks like a bodybuilder.
No comment from me.
And I don't expect Andrew Galvao to be, competing for one championship anytime soon either, because he looks like a bodybuilder as well. People think that you could become a bodybuilder without using steroids. Come on.
Yeah, Mikey Musumeci kind of hinted, and I spoke to him last week. He said something essentially that all the people at ADCC, apart from Cade, are on steroids. But anyway, I that's his words, not mine. But yeah, Tom, are you sad we never got to see Gordon Ryan in one? I mean, they seem to be lining him up bizarrely for a grappling match with Shinya Aoki. Although to Shinya's credit, he did not tap to Cade, who then tapped everyone at ADCC, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was a crazy fight. That's just a testament to how insane Shinya is. He'll seemingly do anything in, the combat sports world if you pay him enough.
That's the key thing.
Yeah, disappointed that Gordon didn't compete in one. Yes, surprised. No, not at all. I personally never thought he was going to. Like we've discussed so many times, there was a bunch of signings in the
really brought some. But I think he could have really brought some buzz to them, right?
Yeah, I think so. Particularly after the success he's had in ADCC and stuff. But I'm not surprised. Like we've said, I think he was one of the guys they sort of signed during the pandemic, with maybe just like a loose commitment to actually having him fight. Tom DeBlas was another one. He's retired now. They signed him in the middle of the pandemic or right before, and now he seems to be retired from competition. So there was a couple of these guys, and they signed these guys before they really even introduced grappling in earnest, right? Like before they'd had, all these matches with Danielle Kelly and stuff and Andre Galvao. So I'm not really surprised that he'd never competed in one. It sucks because there were some cool fights for him in one, particularly if he got into MMA, which is sort of what he was teasing at the very beginning, right? But I'm not surprised. And whether it has something to do with the drug testing, one can only speculate. I think it's probably just coincidence. I mean, that's not me commenting on Gordon Ryan's habits, I'll say, but I think it's probably just coincidence. I would say though that I probably would have taken greater care announcing my separation from a promotion. If you're followed by these kinds of accusations, don't leave right after they introduce the drug testing. You know what I mean? Wait a couple weeks and I don't know. But yeah, I think maybe that's just me giving everyone the benefit of the doubt, but I think it's probably just coincidence.
But I think like PEDs or whatever, doping or whatever, it's not such a big deal in the grappling world. This is my view on that, right? This is what I think a lot of people probably believe, is that it's not as a big of a deal. You know what I mean? They'll throw accusations at each other, and people have been busted at, I've heard people getting busted at certain like tournaments or whatever, like where they test, but it doesn't seem like it affects anybody. They're out there just competing against guys that have popped before, and it's not like they're just, oh, he's a cheater, or I don't really hear that too much. Maybe I don't follow the grappling world closely enough, but I just don't think it's like such a big deal.
I think the main concern though with like a lot of steroids is not that it gives you like a huge edge in the fight itself. You don't, it's more that it helps with recovery and stuff. You're getting an unfair advantage in training because your body's healing faster. You can lift heavier, it just gives you a boost everywhere in training, so that you're just basically getting better training than the guy by cheating, right? So, even though it may not seem like it would give you an edge in a grappling match, if it's giving you a huge edge in training, then I would say that's obviously unfair. So I don't know.
All right. Well, we got a few other things to talk about, so we'll try and move on. Alvin is here, everyone. Alvin is a moderator now.
Oh my God.
We finally got that figured out last week. So what's up, Alvin? I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. Alvin will be policing the chat, so keep it clean, everyone. A few people had to get blocked last week, I think, by Mr. Yakitori. Anyway, as my now named friend Dark Side says, this is a good segue to Cage fighting on the next Prime card. Let's get to the meat. Yes, some big title fights announced after they had to cancel Bular against Malik, and they have padded out that Prime Video 3 card, I think, a little bit more. We've now got Cade Ruotolo will be fighting for another submission grappling title against someone who I'm not feeling so bad that I can't pronounce his name either, because Chatri couldn't remember it either. Can someone fill me in on who Cade is going to be defending against? I was kind of missed it while I was in the arena.
Russian guy with a K for last name, Kharkiv or something. Maybe I'm misremembering.
I need to put some respect on his name. So let's see.
Michael Owens, where are you at with the intel on this guy?
Yeah, let's have a little look.
Yeah, let's
Cade
break down
Ruotolo. I can't find it anywhere. Someone fill us in. But yeah, well, we'll come back to Cade. But they also announced Rodtang against Joseph Lasiri for Rodtang's belt. So Lasiri is coming down, from strawweight to flyweight.
Coming up.
Coming up from strawweight to flyweight. He's going to challenge Rodtang for the flyweight Muay Thai title. So I don't know what that means for Rodtang against. He's still got to fight the winner of the Grand Prix, hasn't he? You got Superlek and Pampayak, who I don't know when they do that fight, but
they announced that already.
Oh, really? Is that going to be?
That's the thing, is they keep announcing these fights on Instagram and on broadcast, but then not updating the website. So you see it somewhere and then you can't find it again. Like they've announced it, but I'm
kind of losing track.
Yeah, but they did announce that one. I think that one might be maybe the same card as
Rodtang is November 19, Singapore. So one on Prime Video 4, and then
I think it was that one or the KL card.
Okay, but also for Prime Video 4 in Singapore, they have got. I think Cade is on that one, right? Whoever Cade's fighting.
Yeah, and that's the one. That's the one on the 19th.
Yeah.
That one has then Hiroki as well. I think Cade is in KL.
Here's Michael Owens. Uali Kurzev, 4-time Sambo world champion, a judo guy. All right, that's Cade's opponent. And Tom says it is in KL. Okay.
I think so. Yeah, Cade is in KL. And then I think, let me see here. See if I can find it.
The cards aren't even on the website yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So this is a little worrying.
But they've shown them on the broadcast, and they've shown them on the Instagram too, I think, somewhere. Yeah, Rodtang, let's see. This is it, man. I don't know. They put it on the broadcast maybe, but I did see they announced that other fight.
Okay, well, we've got a few others. I'll just quickly run through some of the other fights that have been announced. So 162, which is KL. They've got Zhang Paiman against John DeBella, who Tom's going to interview as well soon, I think.
Tomorrow, yeah.
And then, they have announced also Reggie and Ursul against Sinsamet Klimi for the lightweight. Is this for? Are they doing it for like an inaugural Muay Thai belt? I think at lightweight. I think that's
Which
it.
one is this?
Ursul and Sinsamet.
Yeah, that's
I think
lightweight
it's for
lightweight Muay Thai. Yeah.
Yeah, inaugural lightweight Muay Thai. So Ursul trying to become a champ or two sport champ, and then we have got Rodtang Lasiri, like we said, and then Akimoto and Pech Tanong. That is going to be in Singapore in November. So a bunch of stuff, and also looks like Janet Todd and Alicia Helen Rodriguez. They're going to unify the atomweight Muay Thai belts in Manila, December. As far as I know, guys,
and also
the fights.
The Manila card also has the Roberto Soldic fight.
Oh yes,
which is good.
Soldic against Ramazanov. So unbeaten Russian Murad Ramazanov. That is a lot of fun fights coming up. Let us know what you'll think. Leonardo says Sinsamet versus Ursul is going to be awesome. Some bangers coming up, says Dark Side, especially the prime cards. John, what are you looking forward to most out of all those?
Definitely not the grappling stuff. I'll tell you that. I just don't like the grappling and the mixed in.
You're not the
MMA.
only one. Dirk Diggler here says sub grappling brought down the hype of the card.
Yeah, I think you should just do a separate card that day, earlier the day or whatever. Like just have a couple, like a prelim. But the prelims end with a title fight or a title match between Cade or Gade or Dade or whatever his name is. I don't know who he is. And he's probably going to end up winning, right? And he's going to win the belt. And Chachi's going to give him $1 million for a bonus because he loves grapplers. And so I think they should separate that. Of course, Rodtang, he's gonna fight Lasiri. I'm down for that. I want to see that. But I don't. It's kind of confusing to me because, like you said, there's a tournament going on. And he's supposed to win the winner of the tournament, right?
He was in the
tournament. He was in the tournament, and then he got forced out of the tournament. And now they're just keeping him busy, I think.
Yeah, I think they needed like something like a title fight to fill in that card, and this is the title fight. But if he loses this fight, then I guess he could just go to the tournament and fight.
The tournament will be over. I think if he loses this fight, then the winner of the tournament will fight Lasiri, and then Rodtang will fit somewhere into the plan after that. But I think we're gonna see more and more main events like this that are sort of, I guess, like kind of random is the word. Like the Stamp versus Anissa special rules fight, this Rodtang fight with Lasiri. Fights that like don't maybe make a ton of sense, but they're gonna need to fill out these prime cards, right? So sometimes they're gonna have to get creative. If Demetrius Johnson and Angela have just fought, and you don't have if your big names aren't available, then you got to start getting creative and putting together fights that people are gonna want to see. So champion versus champion is usually a safe way to do that. So I think that's why this fight's happening.
I got an idea that I think they should implement. One championship is they should get rid of the rankings because I don't even know if you guys do the rankings still.
But they have been they have been taking them out though. Like they got rid of the one for what was it, strawweight or something, Nick?
I think they should get rid of the rankings. Don't worry about them. We don't care. Like just get rid of them because you guys have awesome fighters, and I think they should just add more weight classes so we can avoid these because again they have this protocol for the weight, right? So maybe we could avoid all of that by having more weight classes, like in between, the weights that they have now. Just put in more weight classes, and then you could have more titles, more belts, and you could have more title fights to fill in cards, right? And you could have, Stamp with 3 belts. Like, why would you not want? Like, why? Let's do that. Let's do something different, right? Let's keep going. Let's roll with it, because one thing about one championship, if they want to keep you active and you're ready to be active, they will keep giving you fights, right? We've seen it a lot, with a lot of fighters under the promotion. What do you guys think about that? Do you like maybe putting in more weight classes?
I mean, they've already got so many weight classes between the 4 sports they promote now. Even in MMA, they've got like 10 weight classes because they have, men's strawweight, which the UFC obviously doesn't have. They've got the full spectrum of divisions just in MMA, and then they do that in 3 other sports too. You're looking at just like too many fighters. We were talking about it, I think, on the Fight Companion. Like, you'd have to have like 2,000 fighters on your roster to fill that many divisions. And like people are saying in the comments, like Dark Sid is saying in the comments, you wouldn't be able to keep up. They're like, even as a hardcore fan of one championship, you'd have like 30, 40 champions to keep up with. But I'm with you on dropping the rankings. I think it was stupid to introduce the rankings, when you don't have enough fighters to complete the rankings for every division. I think maybe at this point, don't do away with the rankings because you've already introduced them, but get to work signing enough fighters that you can have rankings for every single division, credible rankings for every division that you have, and maybe don't introduce new divisions until you have enough fighters to fill out the rankings for that division. So don't introduce a new division with 2 fighters in it. Wait till you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever fighters to fill out the division.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys debate that one. I think I don't have much else to add, but I'll just go through some comments.
Yes. Put Jim's comment about more belts are a horrible idea. It makes the belts list. Belts are just belts, Jim. But they're just shiny things that you wear around your waist and wrap around your shoulder, okay? That's all it is. I don't like, to me, being the champion is great. But, you can promote things better if you have more title fights, right? It's flashier. I don't think it lessens the value because the fighters will probably get paid more for championship fights compared to regular fights, right? So the value is how much the fighters are getting paid. That's the way I look at it. Not the value of, I don't even know how you value a belt. Like, is one title more valuable than another title? Is like a belt in one weight class more valuable than a belt in another weight class? I don't think so, right? So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that.
But the counter, as people are saying, is like, they'd have to promote way more events to keep all these fighters active. And Michael Owens had this little tidbit. One already has 23 champions. That's a lot of champions. You add 5 or 6 or 10 more divisions.
Hey, why not 50 champions?
They should have 100 champions. One championship,
why not?
100 champions.
Why not?
Because the fans wouldn't know who any of these people are.
I don't mind them having loads of champions, and like you say, it's they can just throw them on and really beef up a card and say, "Hey, we've got 3 title fights on this card," and it's usually pretty good stuff. It's high level, so as long as the champions themselves aren't crap and the fights suck, I'm fine with it. Yeah, they're normally really, really damn good, all these champions, right? And the fights are always top notch, but there are a lot of people here who don't like that idea. As you pointed out, Jim's comment, WMAC now says they can't even fill out the top 5 above lightweight. They don't need more divisions. Leonardo says, I think one has enough weight classes, but they don't use them properly. Kickboxing strawweight title got vacated 8 months ago, and the fight for the title is happening now. They don't put enough events, says WMAC now. Too many fighters on the sidelines. I think that's going to change next year. Chatri put something on Facebook saying they're going to have 300% more increase in events. I think a lot of that is Lumpini, but I think there are going to be more. I think they're going to have a lot of these small studio shows. Yeah, like once a month, they're going to have an Apex style show in Qatar. That's my big, bold prediction for next year, I think. So you're going to have a big pay-per-view type thing like they're doing now with 2 cards in one day. That's the plan they told me as well going forward, is sort of get everything in one day and just do an all-day thing like they did with 1X. And then I think they're going to have a smaller scale studio thing. And yeah, then why not have loads more belts? As long as you can do the shows. But yeah, they need more shows. Has there been a vast difference in weight in previous fights that has this whole hydration? Someone died, Northern Thai Garden guy. So that's why they brought in this hydration thing.
That was a long time ago, though, to be clear.
Yeah.
That was like 10 years ago. Not that it diminishes the significance of that, but I just I think it was like yesterday or something.
A lot of people don't like the grappling. The comments are up there. Yes, I think WMAC now asked me about that. Chatri did seem a little bit disappointed in the fight. He was upset that the crowd didn't seem into it, and I think he sort of blamed himself that they put it on at the wrong time. He realized afterwards, he sort of intimated that to me, that maybe it shouldn't have been a co-main, should have been earlier in the card, because he said, I don't want to misquote him, said something like it affected the maybe didn't kill the buzz, but it sort of dented the
He said buzzkill like 3 times
buzzkill.
verbatim.
Okay,
so,
there it is.
yeah.
There verbatim then. All right.
Yeah.
Was trying not to put words in his mouth. All right. Yeah, I said it killed the buzz a little bit. And being in the arena, I don't know if you guys could pick it up on the stream, but it was everyone was just doing a Mexican wave like around the arena. No one was paying attention to that grappling match. Like it was a real lead balloon, man. Just went down, did not work. I think they're gonna have to reconsider that. And like John says, it might be better off kind of being the last fight on the lead card, something like that.
Yeah, or even just start like a grappling series and do, grappling events. They're trying to do more events. You could do them in Qatar, Obviously there's a presence of grappling in that part of the world. Just have grappling shows. I don't know. Maybe that's a good way to just make totally like hide your grappling product. But they got to find a better way for sure. You're right, Nick.
Yeah, Jim was bored in the grappling match as well. I like that the Woo Birds have gone international. Yeah, a lot of Ric Flair in the house as well during that grappling match.
Not a fan.
Yeah. It didn't help that the match just kind of wasn't entertaining for casual grappling fans like me. We didn't get like the night before. Sorry, on Thursday, you had that 15-second heel hook, right? That's pretty cool. I'm sure the crowd would have ate that up. But if you sit there for 10 minutes watching people kind of rolling around and don't know what's going on, you're going to get bored, aren't you?
Yeah, Mikey was talking beforehand about how he wanted to attack for the entire match, and I think he was chasing legs and arms literally the entire time. He was always rolling for arm bars and stuff. But just the optics of flopping onto your back right away, like the guard pull immediately. I mean, even people in jiu-jitsu know, like the guard pull is just not. It's just not a good look. You're literally flopping onto your back. It just doesn't really compute when you've tuned in to watch a fight. I think that was the beginning of the end for that fight. Honestly, the flopping onto your back right away. If that had happened in the last 3 minutes, it would have been a different story. But
I think Jim has a good point here as well, that he enjoyed Galvao versus RDR. I think why we enjoyed that more is because it had that element of here's this MMA fighter, and not just any MMA fighter, like the best pound for pound MMA fighter in one championship, arguably 2-weight champion, and he's going up against one of the greatest grapplers of all time. There was that kind of intrigue there, wasn't there? Whereas no one in MMA casual fandom would have any clue really who Mikey Musumeci is or Kleber Souza. So I think casual fans maybe know who Galvao is a little bit more. I mean, Mikey is a star, obviously, but I'd heard of Andre Galvao a long time ago, and I didn't even really know anything about grappling. But anyway,
that's a good point though, because we were complaining when what's his name got the title shot against RDR, without ever, it was his debut. Obviously, that's fallen through. But the same thing's happening in submission grappling, right? Like we'd seen Mikey before, but Kleber Souza was new to one. A lot of these people, it's just it's hard for fans to get excited when they're watching somebody they've never seen before, or know nothing about, right? Like you need, sometimes you need to know a bit about someone's personality to root for them. We'd seen a lot of Mikey, so people knew what kind of guy he was. Obviously, his personality's catching on with fans, but nobody really knew anything about Kleber, in terms of casual fans. So
yeah, I had no idea who he was.
That's another problem, right? Is that RDR and Galvao, we knew who they were. That was a big part of it. This one, most people just knew who Mikey was, if they even knew who he was. So
exactly.
They're gonna have the same problem with the Cade fight, the guy he's fighting. Yes, maybe he's amazing, maybe he'll win. I doubt it, but maybe he's gonna beat him. But nobody knows who this guy is, so it's just kind of hard to get excited for these matchups, I think.
Well, another thing is, like, I think the reason why they're bringing in these grappling matches is to bring their grappling community to one championship, right? Because a lot of people that like follow grappling or jiu-jitsu, they don't care about MMA. They just are straight obsessed with grappling, right? So I think what Chatri is trying to do, or One Champion is trying to do, is bring that demographic over, and it's not working. I don't think people are watching. I think people are more interested in ADCC because that's where all the names are, right? They need to sign all those guys in ADCC if they want that grappling demographic. If they don't, they're not going to bring them over. You know what I mean? And now you got MMA fans watching these grappling matches and they don't care about it. And that's what's happening right now. Like Mike, I've seen him around, he was on Joe Rogan, and I don't care. I just want some MMA and Super Series. Like grappling should be something separate. Like yeah, have it, but have it separate. Like make it, the tumbling series. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think it kind of is a good idea though to go after the grappling fan base, because even if grappling doesn't have as many fans who like tune in to watch the big tournaments and stuff, BJJ is so popular right now. Like everybody trains BJJ. Like people that I know that have no interest in combat sports are going to BJJ gyms, right? This might be controversial, but I'd say it's the new yoga. Like everybody is doing BJJ now. It's totally on vogue right now. It's the flavor of the month. If you can capitalize on that and get all these people who are trying to get in shape and learn how to defend themselves, get them to start not just watching BJJ but watching your BJJ matches and then staying for the MMA fights. Like there's a huge market of people there that you could potentially capture, but it's going to take some time, man, because I think the grappling does really change the pace of an event. Excuse me, as I said.
Yeah, a few people here agree with you. WM Macing now says just create one grappling, have it separate like CFFC does with Fury Grappling. Northern Thai Garden Guy says, I agree, go after the fan base, but make events specific to that only. So yeah, a lot of split opinion here. Something else I forgot to bring up. Yes, Christian Lee and Abasov. So Christian Lee, we saw in, I think, MMA Fighting, or I think it was our guy, what's his name? Shit. Big beard.
Big
you know
beard.
who I mean. Yeah, MMA
Woody?
Fighting. No, he's a MMA reporter. Is it MMA Junkie?
Drake Riggs?
No.
A big beard.
He also writes about like comics and stuff.
Damon Martin?
I'm gonna type it in. You know who it is.
He's the comic book guy, right?
Yeah, Damon Martin. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I completely blanked on his name. Yeah, I blanked on his name. Sorry. Don't mean to disrespect him. He's great. Yeah, he broke that news. I think Christian Lee and Abasov welterweight title, and then it's not been officially confirmed, but I think it is set for November in Singapore. Christian's going up for another belt. What do you think about that, guys?
I mean, I like it. I've already talked about this quite a bit. I think just Christian is, despite the hiccup with Okra Yun losing his title there, he's already decisively beaten pretty much every contender in his division, at least in terms of the top 5. Eddie's gone, so that fight's off the table. What else is there for him right now, really? And then Abasov, obviously, there's a couple of contenders in his division now, Soldich and Murad, but they're fighting each other. So I just think this is the best option available for both guys right now. And then, once they get this done, whoever the champion is can defend their belt against the Soldich and Murad winner.
Yeah, Lee may have another contender on his hands soon, John. Halil Amir looked pretty tasty against Big Tim Nasty on Saturday morning, at least from cage side. What did you make of Halil Amir?
Yeah, he looked good, man. Christian Lee's one of the best lightweights / welterweights in the world, man. We got to give him credit, and I think him going after Abasov, that's a tall task. Abasov's a beast. We haven't seen him fight in like 15 years, but he's a beast. So I'm interested to see what kind of Abasov comes out. But I think Christian Lee will be ready. It's interesting, but yeah, like what was the guy that you were talking about? Amir? Yeah, I think Amir needs another fighter too. He needs to fight somebody else, right?
Maybe Sagid is a Gakmaev, Khabib's guy, can fight Halil Amir, and the winner can take on Christian, perhaps. Daggy's also there. I think Daggy.
Halil and Daggy, that'd be a crazy fight. Yeah, two guys that knocked out Tim Nasty. I'd watch that.
That's what I'm saying. Like Christian, he had cleared out lightweight. And that's why I sort of understood him going up to welterweight. But now suddenly there's 2 or 3 new challenges there he may have to deal with. So but I'm not so sure it's wise.
All these new guys, though, I'd say are still like a win away, Like Sagid, especially after that kind of slow win over Xiong. If he had like knocked him out or submitted him, maybe. But I still think he needs like one more. Obviously, Halil just made his debut. I think that's why the timing for this, like it's a now or never thing for me for this Abasov fight. Maybe not now or never, but now is a good time, I think, because it gives everyone else a time to get a chance to get one more win,
I think Wrestle Jamia puts it well that he's kind of annoyed Soldich or Ramazanov isn't getting that shot at Abasov. And I kind of agree. I don't like these things where they bring in people and give them immediate title shots, especially if you didn't do it for Mighty Mouse. But if you're going to do it for someone, then I think Roberto Soldic could have immediately got a title shot against Abasov. I don't think anyone would have complained, given his resume, given the state of that division, and what better way to introduce someone than to just put him straight in a title fight. And you just like, go on then, prove it. I think I would have loved that, but I'm not unhappy with Soldic and Ramzanov fighting each other. But yeah, Abasov, I'm also intrigued to see how Abasov looks again against the proper opponent more, because I think RDR, that was just ridiculous for him. RDR is too good. But Abasov is, people forget how good Abasov is. So I'm intrigued to see him against Christian Lee. Let's do it. I'm not going to say no to that one. Halil and Freemanov beating the old guys of one. It's a new era, says Darkside. Yeah, that is something Tom Taylor put in his 5 storylines to watch after one on Prime Video 2-piece on scmp.com/martial arts. Go read it now. There is no paywall on scmp.com for all martial arts content. So have a quick read of that. Tom, yeah, how high is the ceiling for these guys?
Yeah, I mean, Halil, as we've said, looked amazing beating Timofey, but I think Ilya Freemanov was even more impressive. Martin, I think at this point, as much as we love the guy, it's fair to say that he's maybe, I don't say losing a step, but slowing down or something, needs to make some kind of adjustments. He's obviously on a bit of a skid, but the way Freemanov beat him was just, it was not competitive. His striking looked so good. He looked so big for the division. He just looked like the kind of guy who's going to be contending for the title in no time. So I think a win or two for him, and he'll be challenging whoever the champion is in the weight class at that time. I assume it'll still be Tang Kai, but who knows? And how good would that fight be? Imagine him fighting Tang Kai.
Yeah, I put it to Chatri. It didn't see the light of day. It was asked on a separate interview. But I asked him about Freemanov and whether he should get the next title shot, just simply because everyone else is a little bit tied up or coming off losses. He didn't commit to anything. It sounded like he didn't want to jump the gun. I think Freemanov will have to fight someone else to get that shot. And Tan Lei, maybe, as Strong Faith says here, that could be the one.
Yeah, or Kim Jae-woong or something, just somebody in the top 5, and then I think after that it's undeniable. And the same goes for Halil. If you beat 2 guys in the top 5, I feel like that's, even if those are your first 2 fights in one, I feel like that's enough to earn a title shot.
All right, well, we've gone past the hour there, so unless you guys have any burning questions, or Tom or John have anything they want to get off their chest, could start wrapping it up. I don't know, John. You haven't been able to speak for a while there. What do you have anything you want to weigh in on the last couple of topics?
Nah, nothing, man. We pretty much cover everything from the past week, I think. When's the next show? Next weekend?
I think we got a couple of weeks off now, and then it'll be the 21st of October in Kuala Lumpur. It's looking pretty dicey in terms of myself getting there, actually. In terms of passports and things. So I'll try my best, but I may have to wait until the next show in Singapore to get back out there live. But yeah,
what are they gonna do with Tan Lee? That's the question, right? It doesn't seem like he's screaming for a rematch. Has he been screaming for a rematch? I haven't heard anything. And
I think he's on vacation or something right now.
Yeah. He's been
quiet,
right?
Been silent. Yeah, I think he knows he lost that fight fairly and quite convincingly. So it's back to the drawing board for him. He's a respectful guy. I'm sure he will not go away quietly. Yeah.
Well, that dude, that was his first loss in one championship. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he wiped everybody since before that fight, right? So I think they give him. Man, I was thinking like they would give him. I don't know. What do you guys think? Who should? I don't think they should give him one of those guys that just entered the promotion.
I'd like to see Tan Lee and Kim Jae-woong would be good, I think. And then maybe because we forget about Gary too. I don't know if he plans on fighting again, but he's still there. If he wants to come back, he'd be a good opponent for a lot of these guys. Like maybe him against Ilya Freemanov or something. That's kind of a weird matchup, but something like that, But I think Tan Lee against someone who's also coming off a loss. Like they've been giving Martin these fights with young guys. I think Tan Lee needs to fight somebody who's kind of newer to the promotion, but hopefully somebody coming off a loss, because I don't like them matching these like aging champions up with these young prospects who are on 18 fight win streaks and stuff. It just seems insane to me.
Have you guys seen the One Warrior series? That I think they're showing the episodes now. The new one in the Philippines.
No, I haven't seen it.
Well,
I haven't seen any of it. Yeah, I'm
I
intrigued
haven't
by
seen
it.
any of it, but I've saw some comments online about it, and they're saying that like it's in Team Lakai, right? So they have these guys competing, and then what they do is they spar against each other. Spar. I don't think they actually fight. They spar, and then they critique them, and then they decide who stays and who leaves off a sparring session. This is
Oh.
what I heard online, so I don't know for sure, but it
Hmm.
sounds really odd to me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so the loser can the person that lost the sparring session can actually stay, and the winner of the sparring session can actually leave. It's just up to the coaches that are involved, which is like Joshua Pasio or whatever, all those guys that are at Team Makai. I'm interested to see like where that goes. You know what I mean? Because it seems like nobody's paying attention to that.
It seems pretty localized. It's on GMT, I think, in the Philippines, and it doesn't seem like they're putting any promotional weight behind it or money to promote it outside of there, which I kind of understand. But I would like to have some sort of tough version, have a one version of Ultimate Fighter. Yeah. And why don't you localize it in one country each season, but put it on your YouTube channel so we can all watch it, put it on whatever platform you need to, like watch.1fc, as long as it's not paid content. Get it out there. I'd love to see, but I don't like the idea of just sparring. Yeah, let's have these guys fight. Yeah,
and another thing is, this is something that I've been wondering about this deal with Prime, right? With Amazon Prime, is what other type of content are they going to produce for Amazon Prime? I believe that it's not just putting on shows. I think they're going to start putting on other things, like other types of maybe shows. I don't know exactly, but I have a feeling that this deal doesn't just entail live shows. There's got to be something, because they want content, right? A lot of content, and they don't really have any content for combat sports besides one championship, right? So they're gonna want them to produce. And Nick, you got to get on that, man. I think you should start fishing around, seeing like what they're doing, because I think they might be having something on behind the scenes that they're like brewing up.
Well, we talked a little in the past about maybe getting the fight library on Amazon. That would be something I'm really intrigued by, because it's really hard to actually get hold of a lot of old one shows for several reasons, but especially chronologically. It'd be great to start from somewhere around the beginning and really go through. It's difficult to track it down on YouTube, but I don't know. Yeah, there's The Apprentice season 2 perhaps that could go on. I think that's on Netflix though.
I'm on that one.
Yeah, John's going to be on it. Definitely.
I'm applying for that.
They've already
talking about The Apprentice. I met one of the contestants from The Apprentice in Singapore. He was my favorite contestant, Clinton Tudor.
Oh my! I watched one episode of The Apprentice. Yeah. He just looked like the complete a-hole in that.
He's like the pantomime villain, but he's a very nice guy. We spent Sunday. I hung out with him and his I don't know if his wife or girlfriend, partner, but they live in Bangtao actually, John. So you may have seen them inadvertently at the gym. They're just around the corner. They train there. So he's a really funny guy. He's trying to do some kind of influencing in the combat world now, but it was just surreal to see Clinton there. I thought he got bullied by the rest of the contestants. They ganged up on him and tried to get rid of him. He was a threat. They knew he was going to win the whole thing.
We need to do
We
need to do like an apprentice.
From the first episode, it seemed like he was the last person to win the whole thing. To be honest with you, that's what it felt like when I was watching it, because it just, I don't know, they edited it a certain way. Maybe I have no idea, but it's just like you said, they did like gang up on him because
Clinton, what a legend. Yeah, he's on Instagram if anyone wants to follow him. Clinton Tudor. We connected out there in Singapore. Yeah, he's a nice guy. I can say that. What about this, John? Quickly. So Ham, is she injured? She said she wants to fight, but Chatri seems to say Ong and Chaz are asking about her. Chatri said she got a knee injury, needed surgery. Do you know anything about this? because I put a post up saying that quote from Chatri, and then I had a little graphic with Angela and Ham. Ham liked the graphic, and then I think she deleted her like. I don't know. I don't want to start any conspiracy theories here, but do you know what's going on with Ham?
Well, number one, she doesn't like you because she deleted her like. I'm just kidding. But
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
I don't blame
I
her.
don't know what's going. She says, a fighter can say that they want to fight and be injured and can't fight, right? Because they want to fight. If that makes sense to you, right? A fighter always wants to fight. It doesn't matter. They could have one
Mhm.
leg chopped off and then be like, "Yeah, I want to fight," right? But does that mean that they're ready to? Are they allowed to? So,
That's true.
you don't really see her training too much. You know what I mean? She's usually pretty active at uploading like training videos, but I haven't really watched many training videos lately. We just been I think we just question or like pictures of her like I don't know doing stupid stuff. But yeah, I don't know really. Like I was gonna reach out to like one of her managers or whatever, but I just forgot after the last fight companion thing. So yeah, I'll try to reach out this week and see what I can find out.
All right, and John KL, hello John, asking Tom. Yes, I have no idea. The Potor, any updates on him in Myanmar? The horrible situation. Anyone doesn't know, one championship fighter from Myanmar was involved in a bomb situation, which was planted by the police or the military. Am I allowed to say this? I don't know, but
I think so. It seems to be the consensus. Yeah.
Yeah, they sort of blew off half of his body, skin, or whatever. It was a horrible thing, but he's alive at least.
Yeah, well, he's been detained in like a military hospital, I think, ever since that. I mean, he's not in the hospital anymore, but he survived that incident and has been detained ever since. And that's not really clear where he is now. At least it wasn't when I last talked to the people I know that know him. So I'll check in, but I think unfortunately it's more the same. He's just being detained somewhere with a whole bunch of other people that are seen as defectors, a lot of other athletes and stuff that were sort of anti-coup. Obviously, that's not that kind of thing isn't received very well currently in Myanmar. So hopefully he's okay, but I'll try to get some updates for you.
I don't know because I know somebody that went to Myanmar not too long ago and that's staying there right now, and seems like it's pretty open.
I mean, it's not like there's fighting in the streets every day. You know, it's these conflicts are isolated. A lot of them are up in the kind of jungle states, for lack of a better word. Like the fighting isn't happening in Yangon in the middle of the streets. Do you know what I mean?
So it's like a bush war.
Sort of. Well, I'm not an expert in this conflict, but based on what I know, yeah, a lot of it is sort of isolated pockets of fighting between a lot of different like local groups, little factions, that are leaning one way or the other. Some that support the coup, others that don't. But it's still ongoing, still violent, still very dangerous, and a lot of people have been captured and detained by the Tatmadaw, the military there, including Pota. And I think a Lethwei fighter was actually killed recently in Myanmar. It had something to do with that. I don't know if he was speaking out against the military, but yeah, somebody was killed recently, which is very sad.
There was a woman, like I think she's like an OnlyFans chick in Myanmar, but I think she was just recently thrown in prison for like 4 years or something like that for posting something.
It's crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
See, OnlyFans, it could get you in trouble.
That's it, man. Only trouble.
All right. Well, yeah, we could just end it quickly, I guess. Grant here doesn't seem like a fan of Angela. But perhaps I could end this podcast, by asking you guys, who do you think Angela should fight next? And who do you think Xiong Jingnan should fight next? Is it each other at atomweight? John, go ahead first.
I think Angela should fight Denise Zamboanga.
Okay. And Jingnan?
Jingnan, she should fight nobody and leave one championship. Because it seemed like she was pretty pissed off, like to the point where she was like, I don't want to fight, unless I'm going to get a good deal out of it. I don't know. Who is
It's
she gonna
complicated
fight?
though.
They need to
I
sign
think she's
people.
tied in because she
Yeah.
works at Evolve, right? Or she coaches. So
Well, she was pretty mad at everybody involved.
yeah, but I don't think she'd leave. She'd want to prove everyone wrong. That's her kind of mentality.
Yeah, but she
Got her so
did.
far.
She proved everyone wrong, right?
Yeah.
In the last
Well,
performance.
I mean, if she goes and beats Angela at atomweight, imagine that, right? Take Angela's belt.
I would like to see that in the distant future. Let them fight some other contenders, or bring some other people in to fight in what is it, strawweight? Yeah, strawweight, right? It's not like there's so many strawweights out there that they can sign, that they could bring in that actually have decent names, like in Invicta or some other promotions around the world. I don't know why they don't do that right now.
I think they were waiting for Angela to take the belt, right? And then they were going to beef up that division for her.
That is so bad right there.
That's my opinion. I'm not.
Yeah, that's just so bad. Like, why would you wait for somebody to win so they could? Because that doesn't make any sense. They should have a tournament. They should have the next Grand Prix should be for strawweight. And if any of those atomweight girls want to move up and compete in the tournament, they should. Actually, they should put Angela in the tournament and then have somebody have some of the atomweight girls fight for interim title or something. I don't know. Like, they need to have something like moving in that division. They should have a Grand Prix, right, and sign some girls like they did with the atomweight division, right? When they did the tournament, they signed a couple girls to come in, right? So they could do the same.
That's a good idea. I do think Angela has going to get a win at strawweight again. She's 0-3 now. If she's going to ever fight for the belt again, she's got to beat someone.
Yeah, you put her in the tournament, right?
Yeah, so that's a good idea. Tom, what about you? What do you think the future holds for our two champions in one?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because usually the fighter that wins is the one who has all the options, right? But in this case, Angela lost and now has like 3 or 4 contenders that she could potentially fight in her division. Obviously, Hama's right there. John mentioned Denise. She's got some losses, but still a top contender. Stamp is back in the win column. Jihin is not far away if she wins again. She's got all these options, but then Xiong, who won the fight, seemingly has none other than to go down to atomweight and fight Angela again, right? Which, for her may be a great option because it's a chance to get a second belt and become the first female 2-division champion in one. But that's really her only option because there are no contenders in her weight class. So, yeah, like people were saying, one's got to sign some 125ers. There's hundreds of them out there. It's not that hard. And if they can do that, then a tournament seems like the way to go.
Yeah, John says Angela's going to end up with a 2010 record, 20 wins at Atom, 10 losses at Straw. Well, yeah, one last thing. Dark Side said Nick hooking up his man Shannon Wirchai. Yes, I asked Chatri on the spot. I put Chatri on the spot. Can you get my man Shannon a fight on January 14th in Bangkok? He said yes. Shannon will be fighting in Bangkok, hopefully. So who should he fight? John, what do you think?
Well, you just set him up with the wrestler right there. Come on, Nick. Come on. You're gonna give Shannon a wrestler,
Yeah.
Hook my guy Shannon up with the striker. Like, let's see some fireworks, right? He's gonna be in Bangkok. That's basically his hometown. Let's let him show out for his hometown. I think there's some good matchups at featherweight. I think he should fight Amir Khan. Did they fight already?
I don't think so.
Look.
But that's what I was gonna suggest too. Or like one of those guys that fought last weekend, Takahashi, maybe. Someone around that level.
Yeah.
Speaking of Takahashi, he slid into my DMs earlier on Twitter. Ryogo Takahashi. Just he was asking, what do we think about the fight? We're going to discuss his fight. So I guess I'll very quickly ask you guys, what did you say on the Fight Companion about his 2 yellow cards?
Dude.
The yellow cards were super dumb, man. But the score, I mean, it was a close fight. It was a fight, I'd say, without robberies, but the yellow cards were dumb.
Oh, my God. What was... I don't think we saw him for the rest of the night after that fight. I don't think he reffed any other fights that night. Did we?
I don't. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And then I noticed that they took a picture of all the referees, and he wasn't in the picture.
Oh, did he get yanked?
I don't know, but he wasn't in the picture. Like, it was Olivier, it was Herb Dean. It was all the other guys, but he wasn't in the picture, Mr. Suleiman. And he's usually pretty good, right? At reffing. But man, he was like trigger happy against Takahashi. Like, what was maybe like there's some kind of backstory to that? I don't know, but man, that was terrible. Just terrible to see that because I think they get penalized like money for the yellow cards, right? So he's just taking cash out the pocket, and then he lost the fight. That was just bad, man. They need to review that. You know, the one championship, you know, Skull and Bones crew. Like they need to review that and get rid of it.
He shared a picture of himself back at training, you know, already today, yesterday, and then his opponent left on crutches. You know, it's one of those ones.
Cast, yeah.
But yeah, we feel for Ryogo Takahashi, I think. And the fact it was a split decision, even though he got 2 yellows, it does, you know, says a lot for him that he still got close. But anyway, is that it? Are we done? We're coming up on an hour and a half.
Looks like it.
That's it. Don't normally do an hour, but yeah, we had a lot to talk about today, and it felt right. It felt good. But apparently, yeah, Shannon's already beaten Amir Khan once, so I don't know if you do that again, guys. But
do it again.
Why not? I think Shannon just wants to fight, and we want to see him fight, and he deserves it. So,
what about the rematch against the Carolina Crusher?
Carolina Crusher.
Whatever his name is.
Wonder Boy. Kerala Crusher.
Yeah.
That's the fight I want to see.
Yeah, we could do that.
Carolina crushing.
All right. Yeah, so 30 minutes to fight night at Moy Channel 8, whatever. Who's the headline I saw earlier? It seems quite tasty. Anyway.
Isn't that the one with Samay on it?
It might be. Well, yeah, everyone, if you like your Muay Thai, go and watch that. We are wrapping things up, so I usually just check in with the guys, see if they have anything coming up. What is going on, John, with the All-Star this week?
It's always going on, man. A bunch of stuff. Just follow me on social media, JHKMMA, everything. Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Titch, Niche, Yelp, whatever you follow. Whatever you want, I'm there. Save tag. Yeah, but definitely go and download the All-Star app. The best app. You can follow one championship on that app. It's got stats, it's got live results, it's got everything pretty much, right, that you need to know. Articles from SCMP is there. Scroll through. So it's a good app. You can follow every promotion, the UFC, Bellator, all of that stuff. I don't think a lot of people know yet, but it's getting out there. So be the first ones to understand like what's popping up. What's the newest thing, the newest technology out there for combat sports, and it's the All-Star app.
Yeah, and you guys you have a few. Yeah, you sold the hell out of it. I'd download it. You have a few fighters writing for you as well.
Yeah, you're cutting out, Nick. What happened?
Oh, am I? Sorry. I was just saying you have a few fighters right for the All-Star, right?
Yeah. We got Shane Burgos. We got Sam Alvey. He had a good piece about big old Rusty about that one. And who else we got writing for us? Oh, Roxanne Montefiore writes for us. And I got a couple other fighters that are working on some content right now. But yeah, once it's all clear, we got some crazy stuff, man. It's crazy to see like fighters being able to write articles or just give opinion pieces on stuff, and it's and I feel like they have the right to, more than anybody to put out some content like that. So I'm just giving them the avenue, man. That's all it is.
Yep, check out the app, the All-Star, or you can go to allstar.io for the browser version, but get the app. I think it's a more tailored experience. It's a very good app. I've got it as well. And Tom, I mentioned earlier, sorry, you have John DeBella coming up. Any other interviews on the horizon?
Should have Fabricio Andrade in the next couple of days too, I think. But yeah, John DeBella tomorrow. And then just more of the same on SCMP. Keep it locked for all the One Championship news. Make sure to follow that Instagram account Nick and I have been working so hard on if you haven't. But yeah.
Yeah, we have been putting out more content on there. And I promised earlier I put the rest of the scorecards out there, so I will eventually. It might not be tonight now because it's kind of late, but I'll get that up in the next 24 hours. all the scorecards from one on Prime Video too. But yeah, that about does it for us. Thanks. Oh, made some noise with my mic there. That about does it for us. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Thanks everyone in the chat for commenting as always, and we'll see you next week, same time, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Hong Kong and 10 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully, have a good week, everyone. See you later.